Okay, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how Scrivener can be used to create a rules database for a role-playing game. In this tutorial I'm using Vampire the Masquerade, as that's my favourite game, and I already have a database under construction here. I'll be using some of the basic rules rather than the powers. So in Scrivener you can create folders, which are what these little blue icons are here, which have subtrees where you can put in documents. Documents are things where you have text, and in this case hyperlinks. So for instance, I've already got a couple of changing breed rule sets here. I've got some path rule sets already formed here, and I'm going to be using the stats rule sets here because it's not complete and I already have some of the images that I need. What the end result is going to look like is I will have a hyperlink for each of these, the vehicles, feeding, generation and blood, and whenever I click on the hyperlink like I do with the strength table, that will actually bring me up the rule set. The hyperlinks can then actually be copied and pasted into any document that I want. So if I know that a feat of strength is going to be needed in any particular adventure, I can just copy and paste strength table, drop it into the adventure so that when we're playing it, I don't need to go searching for the strength checklist. I just actually click on the hyperlink. So this is how you do it, and I'll just press back here. Incidentally, these images were all taken from PDFs, so I've basically bought PDFs for the rules from places like DriveThruRPG, taken screen captures, used Paint to crop them down into image files, and you can import images into Scrivener, and so long as you're in the research part of the binder rather than the draft. That will make more sense if you actually own Scrivener and are starting to play around with it. It's not important at this point. So I'm going to look at vehicles. So what I do is I would type vehicles in here if I hadn't already done so. I highlight it and I right click it to get up the menu, and I click on Scrivener link. I select new link and go to link to an existing document, and then what I do is I click on the drop down for research because I know that the appropriate thing is in research. I know it's in the stats folder, and the stats folder is a subfolder of appendices. So I open up the appendices binder, open up the stats binder, and I click on vehicles. I click OK, and that's it. It has created a hyperlink for me. So anytime I know that I'm going to need vehicles in the game, I can just copy and paste that hyperlink into anything I want. Now, some of these rule sets you're not going to need in games very frequently at all. Let's actually just do that again. So Scrivener link, new link, and I'm going to do the feeding one this time, link to an existing document. Research, go down to appendices, stats, and let's go to feeding. Click OK, and now I've actually got the difficulties for feeding in different areas in Vampire the Masquerade. So yeah, low rate neighborhood difficulty is 4, heavily patrolled area 8. Yep, sounds about right. So why is this useful that you can actually copy and paste them? Well, actually I don't just have the standard stats tables here, I also have powers. So let's actually close up this and the bibliographies and go to powers. And I have a powers bibliography folder where I actually have werewolves, vampires, mages, fairies, fomori, black spiral dancers, skin changers, and lots of changing breeds. It's a work in progress because there's a lot of stuff. This takes time, be under no illusion about that, but it's stuff that I do when I'm watching telly anyway, so that's not a major issue. So let's have a look at the vampires bibliography. These are all the vampires disciplines. I want to know how to use entrancement from presence. So I click on presence and I've got all the presence powers there. I can click on entrancement and it tells me, okay, the system is spend a blood and roll appearance plus empathy, difficulty, current willpower. No problem. So let's have a look. How's that useful? Well, it's useful because I have templates. So I could just basically open up this template. So let's copy, Control A to copy everything. Let's just go into the draft for a second. New text, test. Okay, and I want this vampire to have entrancement. So now on that character sheet, that vampire has entrancement. So if I'm using the test as an NPC, when they come up against players, I don't need to go hunting for the rulebook. I just click on this. And that's how I use Scrivener to create databases.